Let's talk about that little inner voice. Now, you know the voice I'm talking about, the one that has the power to lift us up towards some of the most amazing victories of our lives. But unfortunately, that same voice has the power to tear us down and unfortunately make us second guess things before we even get started. Now, that little voice has tremendous power in our lives. And if you think about how much we spend with that voice, you might be surprised. Do you know that on average, a person has about 6,000 thoughts per day? 6,000 thoughts that are narrated by who? That little voice. That little voice inside our head that continuously tells us about what's going on, gives us perspective, and narrates all of those thoughts that we have throughout our day. Now, because of the pandemic, but long before it, many people have started to feel more isolated. That means we're spending more and more time by ourselves. And if you really think about it, it means more time that we're spending with that inner voice. Now, in this video, I want to give you a unique perspective on that inner voice by giving you an opportunity to create some distance between you and it, and by doing so, giving you the power to be able to handle those times when you guys aren't on the same page. To start, I want to highlight an amazing book by Michael Singer called The Untethered Soul. Now, this is a tremendous read, so if you have an opportunity to go check it out, I highly suggest it. But this book did an amazing job at giving me the opportunity for the first time, a unique perspective about what that voice represents, but more importantly, how much I should trust it. Now, over the years, you have to think about how many positive, amazing, affirming conversations you've had with that inner voice. Now, those times when you have good experiences, when something goes your way, that inner voice is there to give you props, to let you know what an amazing job you did. But on the flip side of that, you also have years and years of listening to that inner voice tell you negative things. And unfortunately, a lot of those negative things have become so trustworthy that we don't even challenge them anymore. Let me give you an example. All of the positive self-talk that you've had in your life, all the moments when you've believed in yourself, when you've got a good grade on a test, when you were proud of yourself for going to take a chance, going to talk to somebody, or accomplishing a goal that you set out to, that inner voice was always there to congratulate you, to lift you up in that moment of victory. But what about all the times that you didn't have the confidence that you needed in some of those moments? Was it truly you who didn't believe in yourself? Or was it that inner voice that had that amazing ability to give you those key words of doubt? Those moments or those little whispers that led you to say, honestly, I probably shouldn't even do that. Or why would I get an opportunity to do that? I'm not special. Have you had those experiences before? Years of positive comments, positive conversations have unfortunately given us an opportunity to open up our gates or let our defenses down, if you will, towards letting someone into our camp, letting a roommate into your forever home that unfortunately, without a tremendous amount of work, you're not going to be able to evict. So let's shift gears really quick back to the Untethered Soul. And I want to take you through an amazing exercise that Michael Singer led me through for the first time that gave me that eye-opening experience of distance or perspective from my inner voice. The first question that I want to ask you is, who is that inner voice? Is that inner voice you? And I really want you to pause really quick and think about this. And I'm going to go quiet for a couple seconds. And I want to see if you notice that inner voice speaking up in this moment of silence. Do you hear it? Do you hear that voice? Yes, exactly, right there. Stay in this moment of awareness with me and recognize something maybe for the first time, that inner voice is not you. By definition, if you have an opportunity to recognize that voice is not who you are. You are an observer of that inner voice. And for me, when I did this the first time, it was kind of scary because I realized that I had a voice inside of my head, something that has been with me for so long that I forgot, or I don't have the ability to recognize it as being something different from myself. Now, before you freak out, I want to take this a little bit further. Let's use an actual exercise that Michael leads you through in the book to create some of that distance from the inner voice. Now, instead of an inner voice, I want you to think about this voice inside of your head, not as someone who's invisible and goes everywhere with you rent-free, but rather a real roommate that you have to share an apartment with. And so I want you to think about this little scenario. So let's imagine that you and your roommate are hanging out on a Thursday night, and it's pretty chill, so you're just hanging out on the couch. The remote's closest to you, so you grab the remote, you turn on Netflix, and you start looking at all the shows and all the options that are there. You find a show that's interesting to you, so you click the play button. And as the movie or the show that you pick starts to play, your roommate speaks up and says to you on the couch aloud, "Hey, I wonder if that email came back in that I sent earlier." Do you ever have some of those thoughts when you're just hanging out and then all of a sudden that little voice pops up in your head and starts telling you to do things that have nothing to do with the current moment? But let's take it a step further. Imagine that the credits now, or the opening credits, start to play. And the next thing that you hear is, "Oh man, I remember this song. This song reminds me of that movie I watched with my sister when I was younger." You look at him out of the corner of your eye, wanting him to be quiet, but he's just not picking up on the hint, so you let it slide. The next couple of minutes go past, and then all of a sudden, "Hey, I wonder if that dog made it home that I saw when I was leaving the neighborhood on Tuesday." Frustrated again, you look at him out of the corner of your eye, whispering for him to be quiet. And lastly, the final straw that breaks your back is him mentioning, "Should we go to the gym on Tuesday after we run by your mom's house?" That's it. I can't do it. This roommate is starting to drive me absolutely crazy. But let's take it a step further from this. Let's say that it's the next night and it's Friday. You're feeling good, so you and him, plus a couple of your other friends, go out to a bar and you see this cute individual on the other side of the bar. You both make eye contact, you trade smiles, and then all of a sudden you want to go speak to him. So you muster up the courage, and then what do? You get ready to go, and then here comes your roommate leaning in and telling you, "I don't know, man. I don't think that they're really going to be into you. I just think you should probably stay here because I don't think you really stand a shot. A couple seconds ago, you were super confident, but what happens now? You're not confident. And so you end up just hanging out with your homies for the entire night. And guess what? You have an okay night, but it could have been so much better." But what if we take this a step further? Imagine that you're at work the next week and you have to have a tough conversation with your boss. So what do? You muster up the courage right before work. You've got some stuff you have to get off your chest. You feel like you're not being listened to in your meetings. You've got good ideas to share. And before you go in to speak to your boss and to respectfully voice your opinion, what happens? Your roommate comes around the corner and says, "Hey man, I know you're really ramping up to go talk to your boss and share all of those ideas that you think are great, but I don't think they're that awesome. And I think you're probably going to get shot down. So why don't you just continue to work, and then maybe you should bring it up another time." And in that moment, doubt starts to creep in. And then all of a sudden you're like, "You know what? Maybe you're right." And so you settle into your desk and you continue to get back to work. So let's take all of these different scenarios that I've just listed. Thursday night, you're trying to watch a movie and relaxing, but your roommate is being super annoying and asking all these questions and bringing up all these points that don't even matter. Friday night comes around, you're going out to the bar, you're hanging out with your friends, you see somebody on the other side of the bar who you want to go talk to, but your roommate pops in once again and starts spitting those little venoms of insecurity, self-doubt, and those moments that keep you from actually doing what you know is going to make you happy. But it goes a step further than that. Next week at work, you feel like you're not being listened to by your boss. You muster up the courage to go talk to him, but once again, here comes that roommate looking at you, telling you all the reasons why you shouldn't, why you're not really ready at this time, and how you should wait for a better time. How often would you want to spend time with this roommate? How often would you take their opinion at face value if all they do is continue to tear you down and help you not feel confident about yourself? We really have to think about our relationship with our inner voice. And that's what I wanted to bring up in this video, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. It's an amazing book that gives you a unique perspective in being able to create separation between you and that inner voice. The years and years of positive comments, those moments of uplifting praise and confidence that that voice instills in us, unfortunately come at the flip side of all of those moments of self-doubt, all those moments of uneasiness, all of those moments of untrustworthy language that it speaks to us. And what we need to do is create an opportunity or a framework, if you will, just like the roommate, to be able to create distance between us and that inner voice. And the biggest thing that you have to recognize is that you are the observer of this inner voice, and that you truly have the power to make decisions based on the information that you get, but more importantly, the decision that's going to help you be your best version of yourself. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you like this video and this different type of content, go ahead and leave a like, but more importantly, leave a comment below that lets me know, what are you doing to battle that inner demon, that inner roommate, if you will, and what steps are you taking to be able to put it in its place and let it know that you're the one who runs this apartment.